And so Sisyphus continued to heave the boulder up the hill, sliding back a step with every one he takes, exerting all he can to complete the task before him. Day after day and night after night, he continues to fail to open this goddamn door. Now, anyone who thought about the title of this video would know that it's impossible. We need to capture hundreds of monkeys with a net, which is a gadget and is therefore a failed run. We will sidestep the issue and not class the net as a gadget, otherwise this run would be an incredibly short-lived challenge. We do need to cover what no gadget means, for me, because I will be doing some dubious linguistic gymnastics to justify what a gadget use is. If I use a gadget for its intended purpose and complete its built-in action completely, that is a use. So if I hit something with a stun club, that is a gadget use. The only exception I have is the gadget that allows us to swim, but capturing an ape with it is not allowed. The specificity of these rules is to write a legal loophole for something you will see later. We drop in and start. Now, a small side tangent. I love this game, and nothing against anyone who worked on it, but the music in this game is quite frankly bloody awful. So, I'm going to go to the menu, drop down to this, and there is a secret hack for good music it seems. Look, the Ape Escape 2 soundtrack is appropriate for the locations in the game, but it just doesn't get me in the mood to run forth and catch some apes that have escaped. As we're exploring and searching for the titular tamarins, we need to check boxes and containers that we can ground pound throughout the game to reveal them. This little scamp right here was a nuisance, constantly jumping into the drink to get away from me. You might need to reset a couple of times, but ride the gondola, jump up, try to nab him before he gets away, and with that done, we can go ape and nab the rest of the breakout baboons. We need to sneak up on this speed demon in front of us to grab him, and also remember, again, check the boxes for a hidden macaque. Around this level we will see these buttons to activate raising platforms. We can actually use the net ground pound to hit them, so we can access other parts of the level. Now we reach the first sticking point. We can see these various sloped surfaces around the level that need the hoop to travel up to. I tried seeing if I could jump again as I hit the sliding surface without any luck. It seemed there was no way to clip up to reach any of the monkeys. Knowing I would need to use a gadget as there's no way around it, making this officially a minimum gadget challenge, I used the hoop here to reach this switch, meaning that our current gadget usage is 1. From here we slip into the Colosseum and we're greeted by a matador and his mechanical adversary. To beat the clockwork contraption, you need to stand to his side and let him run rings around you until he gets tired. Then, ground pound using your net into his hindquarters, repeat this 3 times, and grab both monkeys to finish the stage, leading into the first boss fight, the Blue Monkey. This is where we reach the first proper difficulty spike. The Blue Monkey is fast and difficult to hit with a ground pound, as when you don't use the stun club, you only have an active hitbox on the way down. The plan is to jump as he dashes towards you and use the ground pound on top of him. Regardless of if you get hit or not, you can actually go for a second ground pound to actually inflict some damage. Keep an eye out for the cookies on the adjacent platforms if you get low on health, and with a bit of tenacity and some luck, you'll have captured your first of the Freaky 5. Our general strategy moving forward, we want to avoid the low level mobs as much as possible, because just trying to hit them will lead more often than not to us taking damage instead. So we dash through the spooky halls, capturing as we go. These armoured monkeys can be knocked down with a ground pound, leaving them open to get netted, and in this side room you'll see the Monka Lisa. Oh you tease, that goddamn smile. But she is impervious to our cheeky attempts to break her out. Rest in peace, 1999 banana. You will be missed. Potassium to potassium. Fibre to fibre. When we drop into the Vita Z factory, make a beeline for these boxes, we can just about ground pound them to get at the mandrills within. From there, head up to the top walkway and... Oh god, no, can't be. These spinning wheel things are an infuriating pain. If we could just use the stun button, which we can't, even as a ground pound, they're a trivial exercise as they hit multiple times. But, as we can only use the net ground pound, it's a case of trying to repeatedly plant our cheeks upon it until it's lowered enough to progress. From up here we can access both sides of the room. I did try to get over this gap and into the pipe, but unfortunately you need to use the hoop to do so, which means that in the next room we'll have to use this mech. So we'll have to take a gadget use regardless of which path we take. Up in our uses to 2. After we hop out of the mech, clap the clapper up top, we can head back to the station. This is our hub of activity, but more importantly, it's where Ape Escape was ahead of gaming trends and put a gacha machine. This machine will unlock things like concept art, some fluff text, but more importantly, we can get cookies to recharge our health out of it. Now, at the best of times, this is slow to do, but having to ground pound the switch and then the capsule itself takes an absolute eternity. This definitely isn't going to get old fast at all. Once we've scored what we needed from the promo banner, it's off to the casino. But first, the good doctor shows us a new contraption that he's been working on. A slingshot. There is absolutely nothing broken about this at all. One might even say it's perfectly balanced. Once we've had our fun stomping the one-armed bandits and whisked up all the monkeys on the floor area, we'll need to head to the opposite side of this cage. The devs intended for us to use the slingshot, but fortunately we can ignore that idea and ground pound off the edge to land on the button, allowing us to spank the monkey. Head to the next room and grab Clint Apewood and Simeon Seagal. Yeah, that's the name the game gave them, not me. We can see there is a doorway ahead and there doesn't seem to be a way up there from here, so it's time to break out our balanced and perfectly fine secret weapon, the slingshot. By doing the following combination of jumping, pulling back the right thumbstick, holding crouch and then tapping the L1 button, Spike will forget what gravity is and begin to drift upwards. Now, you can argue if I'm truly using the slingshot, but as no pellets are being fired, my legalese loophole in the rule allows it, I think. From here, ground pound the switch and head into the circus. You can grab this ape whilst he's being held in the air by jumping and swiping at him with your net, leaving you to mop up the rest at your leisure. Initially, we're faced by this gate. Normally, we'd need to use the RC car to open it. But fortunately, we have the use of our handy-dandy implement that ignores such obstacles. Head over the top and drop down. Interestingly enough, this guard has absolutely no AI and just allows us to capture him. Lovely. We'll need to air crawl horizontally over this gap to the spear-wielding baboon and grab him. You can actually change how your air crawl works by pressing the first-person view button at different times. You can even air crawl downwards. Ground pound this large drum in the centre of the room to activate the rest of the level and move on. Oh god, is that what I think it is? And this one's a lot more difficult than the previous ones we've come across. We don't have much time at all. We open it pixel by pixel, but we should be able to eventually open it and squeeze through and polish off the rest of the level. Say hello to this disturbing abomination. I think it has jiggle physics on its belly button. Also, it has a penchant for talking to children with come hither eyes. I mean, listen to these voice lines.
Here I come. How cute.
Did it really just call me adorable whilst rubbing its own fun bags? Come on, let's listen again.
How cute.
And for that, we need to banish this monstrosity. When it goes to attack you, either jump straight at it or allow yourself to get hit, and whilst it teeters on the edge of the arena, pound it from behind and send it flying to the spikes. Do this 3 times, and unfortunately, it gets away. I hope we never have to see this creature again. After that nightmare fuel, we head into this winter wonderland. Meander around, catch some chilly apes, hop up onto this ledge and catch the monkey overhead with a jumping swing. Oh no. Oh no. Not now. It's one of those things. Fortunately, we can completely ignore it and air crawl our way up to the bad Santa instead. Glide over this gap and grab the remaining monkeys you need as they try to hit the slopes. When we go to head out to the next stage, the professor tries to offer us another implement that helps with vertical travel. Seems mildly pointless considering the doomsday device that is the slingshot. Regardless of that brief intermission, onwards. We can access this area early by using the air crawl. This lets us get behind the turret and get an easy win over the ape who'd normally head into it and shoot at us. As we're heading over these liquid vats of a rather distinct colour, we can drop down and bag the monkey. On the beach, we've got a plethora of options. Nip around, grab all the stragglers out in the open. Don't forget to check the hut for this ape contained within. When you enter into the cove across the water, air crawl to the opposite side to give you a chance to sneak behind the UFO monkey. You'll see a hut with a monkey inside dangling from a tree. Now, I've been told it's theoretically possible to get in, but I'm not sure of how. After trying to clip inside to grab the monkey, I wrote it off as a tool assisted only strat and moved on. As you exit, revel in admiration of Mount Chimpmon. From here, we'll need to check out the shipwreck. I tried swimming through the breached hull. I died. I also tried to air crawl over the top of it, land in a loading zone, but I ended up falling into the abyss instead, so unfortunately this will mean we have to use the submarine and our gadget count is 3. As soon as we can get out of the terrible submarine, we do, letting us grab the final monkey and exiting the level. Good lord, this cutie pie turns into a tsundere demon once you get past phase 1. She initially poses no threat, just jump up onto the stage, jump over a love heart attack and do a ground pound on her head. If you do get caught by the love hearts, shake the stick like an absolute madman to get free and carry on. Catch her off guard 3 times with the power of your cheeks and go to phase 2. This is where it gets real. The best strat is to hide in the top right while she does her attacks from the stage. She has a few different attacks to choose from. The bombs can be ignored for the most part. The bouncing balls, you'll need to run away and run under them when the coast is clear. The electricity is a little easier to jump over from a bit further back, and this weird bouncy thing is a nuisance. Kite it to the back and then head forwards to the stage. Then you can jump up and try to hit her when she attacks you with the electricity. Except you can't. I sat here for an hour trying over and over to hit her on the stage and didn't manage it once. The problem is she moves away too quickly to get hit by the net ground pound, so I resigned to use the Stun Club ground pound. She's still a tricksy madam and will do her best to evade your attacks. On more than one occasion, she hit me as I got the final hit, killing me. I do consider using the Stun Club ground pound a lesser evil than using it normally, but regardless, we'd have to double our gadget usage to 6. Start off by heading into the mosh pit and grabbing all the lemurs you can. Afterwards you can head under the temple and grab the rare ape and tank his F profits. Then head for the temple, push these 2 blocks onto the 2 switches and grab the speedy monkey underneath. Head through the corridor and unnap the walls. No. Can't do this now. Why are my fingers feeling numb? Let's leave that until later. Take the other path outside. In this floating area, you can double jump and get the attention of this monkey on the pillars. The rest of the floating islands can be awkward to deal with because it's very easy to get knocked off into a death pit, but once you've grabbed everyone there, you need to head forwards to this gate. Now you can see here, it's kind of asking for us to use the RC car to drive over and land on that switch. Alternatively, we could just fly up the top instead. Yeah, let's do that. So from here we can sneak up and grab King Ming and head past the flamethrowers, and that's all the progress we can make, unless we go back and conquer our demons. So I return to the colossal door blocking my path for the final capture I need for the level and start to plug away at it. Do you want to know what makes this even more frustrating? After every ground pound, you need to move forward slightly, otherwise the tiny hitbox misses. Brilliant! But this gets even better. Do you know what happens when you're moving forwards as you try to ground pound? As you will be, to try and realign yourself? Yep, that's right, nothing happens! Oh, and to put the icing on the cake, what button do you need to press? L3. So I need to be mashing L3 without moving the left stick in any direction, otherwise nothing happens. Wonderful. And so I start failing, and failing again and again, gaining no ground. The ape puts a finger in my ear. He's tickling my brain. The walls are beginning to bow in. Is made the cheese attracts monkeys. I slam the door, but it falls down. The wheel keeps turning, but it falls down. I miss the post, but it falls down. It falls down. It falls down. I look forwards, all distraught and with a frown, to see that yet again the door falls down. I should give up now, but I can't. My mother didn't raise no coward. Let's do this. And after grinding at it, it's finally done. I never have to try that cancer on humanity ever again. Grab the last monkey. Let's go. Keep an eye out for the goggle-clad gibbons, as funnily enough, they have great eyesight. Grab everyone you can in the open area. If we swim through here, there is another one of those things. And even worse, the gate falls too quickly to even get a chance of going through, so to try and avoid a gadget use, we can air crawl up to this section and run through the level backwards. Heading out to this main plaza, stealth all the monkeys, as the blue pants one will run for the UFO. Air crawl up to the mermaid and move on. Now, we have to use this sub. Spike just drowns before getting anywhere otherwise, bringing our total usage up to 7. Hop up and grab the monkey, then head back to the sub. I'm not counting this as a gadget use for one very important reason. When we get to the other side of this tunnel, we're soft locked and repeatedly drowned to death. So we needed to reload the level at the previous monkey and go back to the gate. This will cause us to increase our gadget count use to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we'll face our second mechanical bull. The strategy here is identical, but he moves a little faster, so you'll need to constantly move to stay on the inside of his turning circle. Air crawl up to this last ape and we're done. The less said about this level, the better. If anyone knows how to evade that softlock post-sub, please let me know in the comments, because I sure wasn't good enough at video games to do so. This Egyptian themed level is a breath of fresh air. Just good, clean monkey catching. The only moment I was concerned was here. It's yet another of my arch nemesis, the spinning switch. Only here I wasn't worried about that part. The door closes incredibly slowly, but I wasn't sure that I'd have enough time to make my way back through this obstacle course and air crawl my way through. Fortunately, this video game was designed to be beaten by children, so I had plenty of time. It's time for the next boss. This mad scientist is now out to get us. What we need to do is avoid the attacks of the mechanical Spike. He uses the gadgets we're not allowed to use against us. The charge shot he does is simple. Circle around him until he fires, leaving an opening. Next, he can use the Skyflyer, just run away from its shadow and jump over the shockwave when he lands, so you can then ground pound him. He can use the Stun Club, which is just boring. He swings at you, just stay away. You also seem to get no chance to attack back either. And finally, he can use the Super Hoop to run around. This is the trickiest to dodge, but my strategy is make as much space in between you as possible. When he starts running, move forwards a touch and towards the centre, and then when he passes behind you, run back to the wall and wait. After this, you'll get an opportunity to hit him. And when he hits the deck, we can have a bash at hitting the white monkey. But unfortunately, yet again, it's impossible to hit him with the net ground pound because of his erratic movements. Even then, just trying to hit him with a Stun Club ground pound is still a royal pain in the backside. It gets a little easier in his second phase as he slows down and will fire rockets at you, but even so, it feels far more like luck than skill. Just keep chipping away at it and you will knock him out, capturing another member of the Freaky Five. In the next level, we can grab the Jack and Rose monkeys at the front of the ship. If one gets away, that's fine, ignore it and we can swing back later. This fire blocking your path would normally require the new Super Soak gadget we just got, but that is just a mere suggestion. Air crawl over the top and head into the volcano. In here, we can air crawl up to the central station and grab the Cannon Brothers. If they shoot off to the outer ring, that's fine. Because we haven't put any of the fire out, they actually have no way of getting back to the central platform. We can float over the next gap that requires gadgets and head through to mop up the monkeys in the minecart section. After this, I need to swing back and swipe Rose, who's left all alone by herself, and bosh, job done. Now, in the second tundra of the game, as we start, there's a frozen monkey that can be broken out of the ice by a ground pound. Nice and easy. Also, ice physics. What a joy. I sure do like platformers with ice physics. It definitely improves the experience and doesn't just make everything feel worse. Go ahead and grab Torval and Dean while you're there and head up the retracting steps. But enough of that. Nothing interesting happens here aside from this monkey spa with the 3 greatest chads of monkey kind. Look at them. Majestic. Living their best life. Back to the pound they go. What a glorious sight. We have dinosaurs, apes that have escaped, and Soichi Terada's familiar tunes drifting through. What a nice throwback to the original game. Wistful rosy glasses nostalgia aside, the only trick we need to pull off is air crawling up to the stranded monkey on this raised platform. Also, this section here where we break into their homes and kidnap them while they're just trying to get some R&R. Am I the baddie here? Ignoring the morality of this situation, head forwards and get given the runaround by these 3 monkeys whilst you're trying to run away from a stomping T-Rex. This played out like a badly done slapstick sketch. I was running around for about 5 minutes trying to catch the last fella. After that hilarity, we can head off to this research station and nab Monko Polo to polish off the level and head to the next boss. This boss, oh blimey, is an absolute joke. A spectacle? Sure, who doesn't want to suplex a T-Rex? But really, he just puffs himself out, letting you get easy hits, retiring him from his brand new AEW contract. We're getting towards the end now, and so the game decides to throw a curveball at us. Just using the tactics we have up until now, we'll get stuck, missing some monkeys, and unable to access large portions of the level by this door that requires us to use a magnet to pull this block onto the switch. So, unfortunately, we need another gadget use. A couple of minutes later, we also come up against this, a monkey that hops into a turret. Now, we can sneak over there and grab him, but to get through the wall behind him, we will need to use the tank to get through. So yet another gadget would be needed. I really don't want to add another 2 gadget uses. So let's do some hunting. After investigating and having a look around, I came up blank. So I did what everyone does when they have no idea how to do an esoteric thing within a video game. I asked the speedrunners, and boy did they come in clutch. In this game, not only is the slingshot hideously broken by allowing you to ignore gravity, it also allows you to ignore walls if they're sloped. Also, if you bonk something with the net whilst you're air crawling, it stops you moving vertically, so you can just carry on in a straight horizontal line. With this bit of tech, we can crawl into this sloping wall, bonk the insides and crawl around to the left. Keep following it round until you see this weird glitching bit of geometry. It's actually the lift that goes up to the next level. When you crawl into it, it will activate. This will send you tumbling to your death, but when you respawn, you'll have access to the upper levels. Success! We can erase one of our gadget uses. After some back and forth with one of the glitch hunters in the speedrunning community, he said we may be able to skip needing the tank. On the lead up to that section, there is a slope, so we may be able to clip under it and get there. It took a few attempts, but if you line up here and bonk with the net just before the bolts, follow the painted lines on the right hand side and head underneath the first door, follow it underneath the turret and head underneath the second, we're through. But we do have a small problem. We are stuck under the floor. Fortunately, if you press the jump button while you're crawling, you'll do a jumping net swing, and that will clip us through the floor. Brilliant! We can erase the last gadget use for this level. What an impressively large level this is! What a terrible shame it would be if we skipped it all. What an awful state of affairs that would be. Now we're up on this cliff face, just head to this door, make your way down and head inside. Now just turn around and head back through, and for whatever reason, that brings us to the boss. Oh no, it's him again. The yellow-bodied freak is back, but bigger. Fortunately, we don't need to see his belly button in HD. It's fairly easy to avoid all of his attacks, run away from his chopping hand, avoid the low-level mobs he throws down. He will sap you for health as you're going on, just hope for cookies and you'll be golden. After an attack like this, it'll try to suck you into his horrid mouth full of rotting teethy pegs. Try to avoid all the other things as he's inhaling. After this, he is vulnerable. And this is where everything falls apart and the gadget use just starts rocketing up. We need to use a Stun Club ground pound, but each individual grotty tooth. From here, we head on to the final level. And what a lovely level this is. What a terrible shame it would be if we skipped all of it. What a slight to the level designers that put blood, sweat and tears into this game it would be. So, over this gap and in the door. Again, we need to turn around and head back through the door to trigger the boss. But unfortunately, this time it's blocked. However, we can float up there, fall down into a lower invisible floor, and then when you fall off here for whatever reason, it seems to send us to the boss. This also allows us to avoid using another 20 odd gadgets, as we wouldn't need to do the extra mode second time round. That involves us running around the levels and collecting a bunch of monkeys to actually unlock Spectre, the final boss and the final spit in the face. There's no way to damage him without using the magnet. We have to fight him the boring, old, conventional way, magnetising his stomach and ground pounding the teddy bear 3 times. In phase 2, it's very much the same. Avoid all the attacks, he doesn't do anything spectacular. Just wait for an opening, magnet off his chest armour and ground pound him another 3 times, leaving a total of 6 extra gadget uses. Spectre is down and never to return again, until the next game. So a breakdown of our gadget use is as follows. We used 1 hoop, 1 mech, 2 separate subs. We used the stun club 18 different times, 3 on the pink monkey, 5 on this door, 5 on the white monkey, and 5 on the yellow monkey. And finally, we used the magnet 6 times. This gives us a total of 28 uses across the whole run. It also means that over 60% of the uses were just the stun club. If anyone knows of any way to drop this number down at all, please let me know. Thank you to the Ape Escape speedrunning community, and thanks to my friends for putting up with my rants on those doors. And thanks to you. Good night.